Here's a very simple.
Is it?
The 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo. I think ultimately it is because you know what? I was talking to some people over the weekend about it because Mayfield and Garoppolo are the talk of the league right now as it relates to quarterbacks. After all the other stuff's done, it's like, what's going to happen with these guys?
Yep.
And maybe at the end of the day, the answer is just as simple. I think they're going to have to cut him. They're going to have to cut him. He got that surgery on his shoulder, throwing shoulder. Team didn't even know what was going on.
Right.
That puts a negative light on all of these talks. Who's going to trade for him? Nobody's going to trade for him. Nobody's going to give up anything of value. Nobody's going to take on a $25 million salary. He's in no position to agree to take less, just like Mayfield. Why cooperate? Cut me, and I'll go pick my next team. Why do I want to go to a team that had to give up a second-round pick or whatever it is the 49ers are currently looking for me? They're going to realize at some point their only play is to cut him unless they're willing to hang around, keep him on the roster, and do what the Browns may end up doing. Wait to see if someone else's quarterback situation blows up in their face and the guy gets injured or whatever. Guy retires unexpectedly, whatever it may be, and an urgent need develops for a quarterback between now and week one. That may be all the 49ers can do at this point. While they do it, they got $25 million in cap space that they otherwise could be spending on guys like Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa.
That's to me, that's the other part of it exactly right that I think puts pressure on the situation because you're getting it's re-up time. I mean, of course it is. Debo's looking at these contracts going, wait, did you guys watch the divisional game and the championship game, right? I was the guy that was running around everywhere, not Devontae Adams. You know, he's going to go, wait, I'm the stud around here. What the hell are we talking about, right? I mean, he's a special football player. He's going to go, did you watch the championship games? I was better than Tyreek Hill that day. I was scoring touchdowns against the Rams. So they got issues there. And I'm with you, Mike. I mean, to me, it almost seems inevitable. I don't see how anybody trades for him. And this is something I know from the get-go. I was kind of bringing out, like, not a good look. I mean, okay, we're going to trade for a guy that, you know, of course, has a few question marks as a player. But wait, he can't practice maybe till, you know, the end of July or August, if that. And, you know, maybe we're hoping it'll be 100%, or is it going to be like limited reps? That's not going to fancy teams, let alone the price tag, let alone some of the film they're going to watch. I mean, again, this is, you know, a guy that I look at, they just go, it's a below average NFL starting quarterback who was on a great team that I think was, you know, fooling some people at times there. But I think at the end of the day, I'm with you there. And, you know, one thing we talked about, too, with the surgery, that from the start, I was trying to tell people, it brought power back to Jimmy Garoppolo, really. I mean, it was an FU to the organization, and it was a little bit like, no, I'm going to go at my own pace here, and I'm going to figure it out myself. And, you know, when you guys talk trade or all that, I'm going to have something to say about where I am, where I want to play. It's got some similarities to that Baker Mayfield situation we were just talking about.
No one's touching a non-guaranteed $25 million, which will be guaranteed as of week one, $25 million cap charge, $25 million salary charge onto the books for a guy who had his throwing shoulder operated on his own. Who knows when he's going to be ready?
Yeah.
No one's touching that contract.
No.
And as long as Jimmy says, I'm not extending, I'm not restructuring, I'm not doing anything, you're taking my full salary and all the other pieces of compensation I'm due to make, it adds up to more than $25 million. And you got to do that. I'm not doing a thing. I'm not lifting a finger. I don't have to. Because, look, whatever someone's going to try to squeeze him to take as part of a trade, that's going to be available to him on the open market. And probably more will be available to him on the open market because if a team is actually giving the 49ers a draft pick and saying, we want you to take $12 million a year, you take the draft pick off the table, maybe he gets $14 million a year. Because teams always look at both sides of that. How much do we have to pay and how much do we have to give up? And the less we have to give up, the more we're willing to pay. So there's no reason for Jimmy Garoppolo to cooperate. There's no reason. It's just like Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
You guys have been screwing me around, and now I get a chance where I have power, and you want me to do you a solid?
Right.
Kiss my ass.
Yeah.
That's what they both need to be saying to their teams right now. And I know it's saying, well, how dare they? Well, that's because you do the same thing.
Yeah.
The teams always do what's in the best interest of the team, and we say, hey, well done. You're operating in the best interest of the team. And it's okay for the players to say, we're operating in our best interest, and our best interests are to agree to nothing and tell you, just cut us.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, hey, business is business, and this is one of the avenues of business that the player can take here to strengthen his position. And baseline, Mike, back to like the Baker Mayfield conversation, it just goes, who's going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, really, anyways, right now? Who's going to trade? Like, let's break down the teams again. Atlanta, do we really think they're going to, do this right now?
$25 million.
No.
Not when they got 40 on the books for Matt Ryan.
Exactly.
They don't put 25 on the books for Jimmy G.
There's prior knowledge and history between Arthur Smith and Marcus Mariota. Mariota has talent, so that I don't think they're going to go, oh, my gosh, we got to have Jimmy G over Mariota. We got to get him down here. He's going to change the organization. That's not going to happen. Houston, that's another team. All right, we'll throw it out there. Of course, there's the connection there. Nick Caserio, all those New England people. Maybe that's one that can happen. Certainly. Okay, I'll throw that out as a possibility. Panthers, I look at, Mike, I don't know. It's got the same feel as Baker Mayfield. Like, hey, we'll try another team's, the quarterback that they threw overboard, and we'll try to make it work here. I don't see that exciting the fan base in Carolina or them doing that either. I don't expect that. And then you got Seattle, who's in the division, and I don't know. He hasn't played the greatest against Seattle. Seattle's probably like, no thanks, we don't need him necessarily. So I feel like there's limited options out there here for Jimmy Garoppolo.
And that's a conversation that we could have when he's cut. See,
yeah.
It's as we're thinking about it and talking about it, it's like none of these teams are going to give the guy $25 million and give the 49ers what they want for him. It's not going to happen. Indianapolis was their best shot until Matt Ryan falls out of the sky and lands in Lucas Oil Stadium. The Colts were a possibility because he was the anti-Carson Wentz from a personality and coachability standpoint. I mean, talent-wise, I don't know. You and I still both think Carson Wentz has more raw talent.
Right.
But I think Jimmy G, I see, and this is the other problem for the 49ers, Chris. You get ego involved in this. I think maybe they overplayed their hand when they could have traded him to the Colts. Won a little too much.
Yeah, maybe.
Out a little too hard.
Right.
And then they get Matt Ryan, and you're like, oh, we could have had – I heard they were telling people they got 2 second-round picks. Then that's puffery. Hey, we got 2 – well, we take it then. Just take it. You get 2 second-round picks.
That's
Jimmy G, take it.
Right.
If they could have gotten 1, they should have taken it. And maybe they were saying they got 2, so the Colts would give them 1. I don't know, but I think they had a window with the Colts, and that window shattered when Matt Ryan became available, and now the 49ers have nothing. So the question is,
yeah,
how far will the organization go to avoid having to admit that they blew it? How far? Let's. I don't know.
Sure.
John Lynch is the GM. How far will John Lynch go? And I know Kyle Shanahan's got a lot to say over this, but how far will they go together to cover up that they blew it? Would they actually keep him? Would they actually keep him on the roster at $25 million for this year?
No.
And let him compete and play just to cover up that they blew it and they could have traded?
I don't think so. It is, it does have the makings of not looking good on both of them, certainly. But what I would say, too, is like, is it a cover-up or is it a cover-up? I don't really know. Again, I know, yes, a little bit that Indy and San Fran, there were some talks there. I had been led to believe that Indy never got real serious about pursuing Jimmy Garoppolo. But like you said, if Matt Ryan doesn't hit them in the face here, who knows how serious that gets as they go and they start to go, damn, we are desperate. We got no other options. So that certainly made a lot of sense and had to have thrown a wrench into the 49ers game plan. But I will also say, too, I don't know. I just have a hard time believing that. The 2 second-round pick thing. I haven't.
No.
Right?
I'm not saying that they had 2 second-round picks, but I'm saying they were telling people they did.
I know they are. That's what I mean. And I'm just saying I got you. I have a hard time. Yeah. That sounds like propaganda or that they're selling that. Because to your point, again, I think anybody that would be like looking at the market right now and just paying attention to the league as a whole would go, wait, you got 2 second-round picks for Jimmy Garoppolo? You're crazy. You signed the deal, right? It's over. He traded him already, right? Wait, what? You think you're going to get better? That's insane to me. So I can't imagine that was sitting there available to them and they didn't make that move. They're smarter than that, I guess is what I'm trying to say, or at least I think they are.
I don't think they ever had that. Again, that was
right.
an effort to get something
right.
and offload this contract. And think about how much the football world has changed in the last 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago today, we didn't know Aaron Rodgers was staying with the Packers. We didn't know Tom Brady was unretiring and staying in Tampa Bay. We didn't know Russell Wilson was going to be a member of the Denver Broncos. We didn't know Deshaun Watson was going to be traded to the Cleveland frickin' Browns, for crying out loud. I mean, who saw any of this coming? Matt Ryan going to the Colts. So 3 weeks ago, you look at the quarterback carousel, and the 49ers could be feeling pretty confident about where they were,
right,
and what they were going to get.
Yep.
And now all this other stuff happens. I mean, Garoppolo would have been play for the Buccaneers, potentially. We're going to talk more about that later in the program. I mean, there's all sorts of places he could have gone. But once these dominoes start falling, Mayfield and Garoppolo are the two pieces of cheese standing alone, and it's their teams that are the ones who are in the wilderness here, because they would love to be able to get value. And at the end of the day, I'll say it now, I think both guys, barring some sort of a freak accident with a quarterback who's starting for some other team and it creates an urgent need to go get one of these guys, they're both getting cut.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're both getting cut. That's what they want. They both have the power in this situation. Ultimately, like you said last week, the no trade clause at the quarterback position especially is an overrated clause. I mean, if a team wants to trade for a quarterback to make them the starter and the quarterback tells the agent, hey, I don't want to play for that team, tell them, they're going to go, okay, and they're going to hang up the phone and not try to trade for you. Nobody wants a quarterback that doesn't want to play for them starting for their football team. So that at the very least is where they have the power, let alone there's a lot of other circumstances that are in play here as well. So I'm with you, Mike. 100% get cut. And if you made me look at it, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm going to say Baker Mayfield ends up in Seattle. If you had to bet money, where do you think Jimmy Garoppolo ends up at? I'm going to say
Houston makes sense.
Yeah,
Houston makes sense.
Right. That would be I'm with you there. That would be my two picks if I had to throw down some cash here on March 28th.
And he's good enough to take a 4-win team and make them into an 8 or 9 win team.
Sure.
He's good enough to do that. He's just not going to get you over the hump unless you've got the 85 Bears defense and Jim Brown in his prime, and all sorts of other bells and whistles around him, and he doesn't get injured all year. Other than that, you're good to go.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.